What's happening? How are you? I hope you're doing great. Happy Friday. Yeah, this week flew past. So I want to do a quick training here because I get a lot of questions on this topic and I want to help you out. And the question I get asked often is how to be more productive each day. How do you get more done each day? There are some simple strategies, and there are also some additional strategies that other people have, some different ideas. Hey, Tony, how's it going? So this is what I do, and this is what I learned, and I invite you to try it as well to see how it works for you. So I focus on, and I wrote a post about this just earlier today on my Facebook page. And that is that I try to do more in the first 3 hours of my day than I would imagine that the average person who just kind of goes through their day without a whole bunch of direction can do in 8 hours or even 10 hours. So if you can cram in, by focus, diligent work, as much work in 3 hours that most people can complete in 8, you're way ahead. You're way, way ahead. So how do you do that? First, you have to start with the right frame of mind, right? If you wake up and you're pissy and you don't feel good and you're not happy and you're not well rested and you have a negative attitude, man, that is the wrong way. So you better figure out what the hell's going on in your personal and professional life that's causing that to happen. We all should, wake up feeling really good and inspired and excited, right? So first of all, if you don't feel that way right from the beginning, I would reflect inward and say, why don't I feel that way? I just heard a doctor, a researcher, and he's an expert on peak performance for entrepreneurs with ADD and ADHD. Really interesting. And he's talking about sleep and a lot of different things I can talk about in just a second. And I tend to agree with him. And the question was, well, how much sleep is enough? Because we're all unique. And experts will argue that it's 6, it's 7, it's 8, it's 8.5, it's 9, whatever. In real simple terms, when you wake up, you should feel refreshed and ready to go without an alarm. If it requires an alarm for you to wake up and you still feel horrible, you are underslept. You are underrested. Your body can't recover. The adverse effects of that are challenges with regulating your blood sugar, blood pressure regulation, early onset of Alzheimer's and cognitive decline, immune function, energy, sex drive, ambition, all sorts of things like that. So you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself because of lack of sleep. Most people stay up too late and then they want to sleep in, right? It makes sense, but we have to be really, really conscious of that. So please share it on your page. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, you guys can share all you want. I'm here to help everybody. So let me just talk a little bit. Here's the thing. We're talking about how to get more done in your day by doing more in the first 3 hours than most people would probably get done in 8 hours. But you have to go backwards in time to ensure you can do that. So go to bed earlier. Do not have a bunch of booze before you go to bed. Don't do it. Don't have coffee in the afternoon. It's going to screw you up. You should stop drinking anything with caffeine probably after about 11 or 12 o'clock in the morning. I know some people say, well, I needed a pick-me-up. The reason you needed a pick-me-up is because you didn't get enough sleep from the night before. It has nothing to do with that moment, okay? It's a habitual cycle that's been created over habitual behavior, which hasn't been optimized, and that's why you're having a hard time, and that's why you need that pick-me-up in the middle of the day. If you do not drink booze late at night, you shouldn't have a lot anyway, let's be honest, right? But a lot of people go, well, I have a nightcap or whatever helps me sleep. No. It may help you go to sleep. It inhibits you from staying asleep. And caffeine in the latter half of the day keeps you from going to sleep. A busy, preoccupied mind also keeps you from going to sleep. So there's a difference between being able to go to sleep and being able to stay asleep. Then, once you are asleep, then there is the quality of sleep, the depth of sleep, the restorative nature of sleep. And all those things have to happen. So you need to have a ritual also before you go to bed. Prayer, meditation, couple yoga postures, deep breathing. And also when you get up in the morning, you need to hydrate your brain. right away. Drink a bunch of water. And I've talked about this before, but it bears repeating. I've been doing this, and it's not perfect. I don't have it down to an absolute science, but I've been improving it, and I can tell you a few things. My allergies are better. For a few years, I had a real problem with inflammation and allergies and stuff like that. Some of it was my diet. I had to change. I found out I had a gluten sensitivity, which really screwed me up. And I wasn't drinking enough water. And I just had to clean up any of the toxins I had in my life, and it made a huge difference. I'm able to focus more. I feel better. I don't look as tired as I looked before. It was terrible. So I want you to do all these things. Then when you get up, you need to have a ritual for success. What is that? In the morning, first thing is after you take care of your business, whatever that business is for you in the morning, drink a big glass of water. Drink a big glass of water, as much as you can drink. One is it's going to get your bowels moving. It's going to make you feel better. You probably have dry mouth. It will hydrate your whole body, but also to be productive, it's going to hydrate your brain. Your brain is primarily water. Our bodies, it depends on age and gender and muscle mass and stuff like that, but it's roughly like 85% water. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's about that amount, and it does vary a little bit. So you have to stay hydrated. If you don't feel good, if you aren't sleeping well the night before, you have heart palpitations, or you have headaches and things like that, you're probably dehydrated. Probably. Most people are chronically, slightly dehydrated. And that leads to all sorts of health issues, all kinds of it. Just do this. Just make a note right now that when this is done, you're going to Google what are the health ramifications, or you could look at the other way, what are the health benefits of staying highly hydrated? Because it's enormous. You wouldn't think of something so simple as water would make such a profound difference in your entire life, but it does, and that's not the premise of this. And if you can do the alkaline water or whatever you want, that's time for another discussion, another video. So you do all that stuff. If you missed it, if you're just joining us, go back and watch the beginning. Then at the beginning of your day, you need to have a ritual. What do? Take care of your personal business, drink a whole bunch of water. And then some people like to do it with some lemon as well, which can help for kidney function as well. A lot of water, and also with a little bit of lemon, and also dandelion root and milk thistle, which is Silybum merindium, if you want to get fancy with the official name. That all helps with toxicity of the liver and the kidneys and stuff like that as well. Don't overdo it, but those things do help. All right, so now your body's optimized. A lot of times I like doing a liquid collagen and amino acid, just like a tablespoon of it in the morning, and there's different brands of it out there. I'm not proposing that you try a particular one. I just like to top off my levels in the morning, right? And then I also have a liquid nootropic. That's actually the right way to pronounce it. People say it differently. I learned that from my friend who's a PhD in neurobiology, a brain researcher. She says that's the way you say it. So it's nootropic, or nootropics, plural. So those are the brain boosting chemicals, phytonutrients, enzymes, and things like that makes your brain function at a higher level. You have to be careful with that stuff too. Don't go crazy with that to increase your productivity. You don't want to overdo it. So do your due diligence, do your homework, but those things can help, okay? So in the morning, you have your ritual, you're hydrated, you're feeling good. Everyone I know that is super successful, and by successful, I don't just mean they make a bunch of money. That's great, but there's more to it than that, right? By super successful, I mean that they feel good, they're happy, they have a good sex life, they have good relationships, they're productive, they have a sense of fulfillment in their life, and they are the people who are leading the other people because of their actions and their behaviors as well. All of those people, with very few, if no exceptions at all, they all do some sort of meditative practice. All of them. Are they all crazy? No. Are they all, I don't know, weird? No. They're all successful in their own way. And they all meditate or do some sort of contemplative thought or gratitude work or journaling or prayer or something, some combination. It's personal, right? You got to do what makes you happy. But you have to do it. What'd you say, Stephen? The total package. Yeah, exactly. It is a total package. You have to do all that stuff. Very, very important. So my question to you is, are you doing a morning routine that has some sort of gratitude or thoughtfulness or meditation or contemplation or journaling or breath work or yoga or maybe Qigong, Tai Chi, so something like that, right? I mean, everyone has their own flavor, and I'm not the person to say what's right or wrong. It's highly personal. What I can tell you is there's endless and undeniable clinical research and a whole bunch of anecdotal personal experiences that say that this or these things enhance your life. There's no downside. You're going to be happier, your body's going to function better, you will be calm, and if you have a calm mind as well. Hey Peter, how's it going? My meditation is playing with the dogs outside as soon as I get up. Now I wouldn't call that meditation, because I do that too, so I'm going to share that. That's actually a good point, Peter. I wouldn't call playing with the dogs meditation, I would call it therapeutic. Because here's the difference. I'm not saying it's bad, because it's awesome, because part of my morning routine for my personal success is taking my 2 French bulldogs, who are around here somewhere, you'll probably see them walking around in a minute, Lily and Lucy, out for a walk. I would call that therapy and ritualistic behavior for success, because it puts you in a mindset of gratitude, and you feel good, and you love your dogs, and you get dog kisses, and it's all good. So that's more therapeutic and ritualistic, and it's good. But here's the difference. I'm not saying don't do it, I'm saying keep doing it. The difference is with meditation or even mindfulness exercise. Here's the thing, this is a bit of a departure, but you guys know my background, so I can exercise science and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm gonna, and Eastern philosophy, and a bunch of other weird stuff, but I put it all together. Exercise is always good for your brain, especially when you do cross-patterning techniques, right? This kind of stuff. And that's why martial arts and dance and all that is very, very, very good, because it helps enhance the corpus callosum, which is the collection of fibers that connect both hemispheres of your brain that enhance neural function, cognitive function, fine motor movement, hand-eye coordination, stuff like that. And also will reduce the onset of Alzheimer's. So it will delay or compress morbidity and the decline of cognitive function. So all that stuff's good. However, here's what I'm getting at, and we'll get off track. Exercise is awesome for your brain. All the clinical research shows that. However, there's a difference about doing exercise because it makes you feel good, because you're burning calories, because you want to have flexibility, because you want to improve sports performance. And there's a difference between exercise that is specifically mindful. Specifically mindful. So here's what I mean. So if I'm going for a walk and I'm focused, like, I don't know, what's a fast pace for a walk? Probably a 10-minute mile would be a pretty fast clip for walking, right? Power walking, speed walking. So, and then I'm focused on the physical act. And I'm focused on my breathing, which is good, and that's a little bit of mindfulness, rather than going for a walk and thinking how grateful I am, how beautiful the nature is, how much I love my dogs, and how much I appreciate everything in my life as I breathe it in and as I exhale all the crap, right? Because I'm focused on it, that is my intent. That's a form of mindfulness exercise. So if I do a sports stretch, and maybe like for martial arts, we do a lot of waist twisting, right? A dynamic trunk rotation for rotational power for punching or something like that, right? That is a dynamic flexibility exercise which can help trunk rotation, punching speed and power, things like that. That's great. That's flexibility, a dynamic form of flexibility. However, if I pause and think and do this and just stretch and think about what's happening in my body as I'm doing it, and I pause and kind of like, you know, like if you guys have you never done yoga and had been cued by a very good yoga instructor, please do that. Or some of the best instructors at cueing for breathing and focus and intent are Pilates instructors, a highly qualified Pilates instructor, or Qigong, or some of the other methods like that, Tai Chi, any of the slow moving kind of therapeutic exercises with a really good instructor teaches you that body awareness and breath and thought and appreciation and all that, rather than just moving to move for the physical act. It's completely different. It's completely different. One isn't good and one isn't bad. They're both awesome. There's just a time and place for each. So, Peter, that's what I'm talking about, okay? So this, like your meditation with your dogs, I would say it's awesome, it's therapeutic, and it's ritualistic, and you should do it. But it's not meditation, because while you're playing with your dogs, your focus isn't Om or gratitude or whatever, you know. It's still good, but you have to be in the moment with a specific intent for something to be mindful, because you need to stay on the thought and the focus of the mindfulness at that time. Otherwise, it's just exercise, which isn't bad, just different, okay? So we got way off track, you guys, but is this good? Is this helpful to you? I hope so. So now we have a morning routine. You have gratitude. How many of you journal? Do you guys journal? Love to, what John say? Love to do mindfulness exercise. Start every day with it. John, I would love to know what you do for your mindfulness exercise. I'm curious what everyone does. For me, it's breathing exercises. I do breathing exercises. I learned a lot of this in my first martial arts. You guys know I do a lot of different martial arts. My very first martial art was Kung Fu. And I learned from descendants of the Shaolin temple. How cool is that, right? And so my grandmaster actually brought our style over from Hong Kong. And so I learned from the Kung Fu and Tai Chi and Qigong masters, all that stuff. And so I practice a lot of that stuff still, just kind of as my mindfulness practice. Whatever it is for you guys, just do it and make it part of your routine. And then it kind of primes your body for success, because you let go of all the peripheral noise and crap and things that don't matter. And then because that no longer matters, then you can focus. Here's another thing. You guys have probably heard me say this before, but it bears repeating. I no longer watch the news. Now, someone asked me the other day, they said, don't you want to be informed? Don't you want to know what's going on in the world? And the answer is yes. And the answer is also, if something was horrific enough for me to know about, I would find out, because someone's going to tell me. But do I need to know every dumb thing the president said? No, because the same thing will probably happen tomorrow. Do I need to know what's happening in North Korea? No, because he's probably a little crazy and there's nothing I can do about it. So if I need to go somewhere, I use Waze. You guys use the Waze app? So I don't need to watch the traffic. Do I need to know the weather? I step out on my balcony. I go, it's sunny, feels about 75 degrees, I'm good. But when you watch the news and it's this cyclical thing, and you guys, because of the way we developed as humans, through evolutionary neurobiology, we are geared towards paying attention to things that are painful, hurtful, dangerous. That's the way we're programmed. That's why the news says, or people say about the news, if it bleeds, it leads. And so we're programmed for that. I actually just had a discussion with an older lady, oh gosh, probably 2 weeks ago, and she said, and she was emphatic about it, the world is more dangerous than ever before. Everyone's crazy. Don't you watch the news? And I thought, holy crap. Just the opposite is true. Statistically, verifiably, historically, mathematically, we are living in the safest time ever in history. Now, you guys know I'm in the penthouse here. The Las Vegas Strip is right there. I was here the night the shooting took place in Las Vegas. Horrible event, right? And so am I still affected by that? Yeah, I think it's terrible. But I can't let that stuff hold me back. I just do things for the victims. I hope for the best. And you have to move onward, right? But if you dwell on things, it holds you back and you can't focus on having a productive day. So we're going back to having a productive day. Please don't sit around and watch the news. It drives you down. It will hold you back. It makes you feel like crap. Please don't watch the news. Unless there's something like a fire in your neighborhood and you need to know if there's a mandatory evacuation, right? And you see the smoke. But other than that, please don't watch the news. I haven't watched it for over a year now. I'm so much happier. So here's what I do. And I learned this from my friend John Assaraf. You guys know John? Awesome dude, super smart. He told me, he says, be informed but not inundated. Be informed but not inundated. So all I do is I have 3 apps on my phone. I have one that's conservative news, I have one that's liberal news, and I have one that's foreign news. Now some of you are cringing because you have bias. But what I do is I look at all 3 of those. And actually there's a neutral one too. Is it NPR or another one that just aggregates general news? And I look at all of them and I say, well, they're all saying the same thing, and they got the news from different sources at different times, and they haven't corroborated the story, and they haven't conspired together, that's probably the truth. They're roundabout. If they're all saying something completely different about the same story, I know someone's full of crap, and I can't pass judgment on it yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. And therefore, it frees my mind to focus on what I need to do to get things done. But can you imagine if you just hung out all day and worried about Kim Jong-un or Il or whatever the heck his name is, or the next thing that the president says, or what the conspiracy theorists say, or whatever. Can you imagine if all you did is sit around and think about that? You're going to give yourself an ulcer. And guess what? Every time you do that, every time you sit around the news, this is something, there's something in your brain called the reticular activating system. Okay, this is important. This is really important. The reticular activating system is a part of your brain that searches for evidence to confirm what you believe and validate it so you can feel that it's true. I'm going to think of another way to describe this. So let's just say that you tell yourself, I'm really bad at remembering names, okay? Your brain will search for things in your environment to confirm that belief. Like if you forgot someone's name, you go, shit, there it is again. I told you I suck at remembering people's names. Not everyone's going to remember everyone's name. You're not going to remember everyone's name. I'm not going to either. That doesn't mean you're bad at it. But the more you tell yourself that, your brain tries to find evidence to support that. So if you think the world is evil, you look for more things that support it that's evil. And so you watch the news that says that things are evil. I'm not saying that there isn't evil, but you will predominantly perceive that and think that that is the norm rather than what it probably is the exception. And then you can't have an expansive, growing, forward-thinking mindset to make a better life for yourself if what you perceive is that the world is doomed. It doesn't work that way. You won't do well. You will not reach your peak potential if that's the way you think. It doesn't work that way. However, in contrast to that, if you say, I'm creative and resourceful, and you keep telling yourself that, your brain will look for other ways to confirm through the reticular activating system that you are creative and resourceful. Or if you tell yourself, I have the ability to make friends easily, and I'm going to make connections that will make a difference for myself and others, then your brain will create opportunities, will seek opportunities. We'll see opportunities there where other people haven't seen them because they haven't asked themselves those questions or made those declarations to themselves. And so their mind is shut off. But when you make the proper declaration, your brain, the reticular activating system in particular, wants to confirm that, gives you additional evidence, and moves you in that direction. So a lot of people, for a long time, they'd say, just believe and you can receive. To some degree, that is true. You still have to take the action. You still need to have fortitude. You have to be consistent over time, and there is a degree of risk at times. But you can't just say, universe, give me everything I want. That's a bunch of crap. That doesn't work. But you need to make a wake. So a lot of times people think inappropriately, I'm good enough track here, but this is important, that if they just sit and meditate and do that mindfulness we talked about, that they create like a vacuum and everything comes to them. That's not the way it works. You need to make a declaration, be emphatic and definitive and clear and concise, and then move forward and make a wake behind you so everything can fall into place behind you and support you. Does that make sense? Okay. So John says, I do something, I synthesize that is something like a combination of Qigong, yoga, and high-intensity exercise. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so it's a hybrid. So earlier we were talking about some type of meditative movement or exercise that is mindful, has mindfulness at its core. That's really great. Peter says, ulcers are caused by bacteria, not stress. Well, gut flora, now we're getting off on a whole other track here. Gut flora, bacteria, and gut health is the root of a lot of disease processes, and we're just starting to learn about that. I actually had a conversation with a man about a month ago. And not only does he have a company that's going to the moon in December, no joke, but he also has another company, a medical life extension company. He's working with the people at Google, and there's some of their medical research that they're learning how to extend life to 120 and 130 years. And a lot of it has to do with gut health. So, Peter, some of what you're saying is true. What happens is the stress can allow the bacteria to grow more, and it also doesn't put your body in the right state to handle the bacteria. So it's true that the bacteria can cause the ulcers. That's true. But what happens is when your body is in a sympathetic state rather than a parasympathetic state, and the stress hormones are aggravating the lining of your stomach, it allows that bacteria to dig in there further and create bigger ulcers. So in part, what you're saying is true, but there's another component to it. But thank you for adding that. That's good. Write down, post it on the bathroom mirror. What are you posting down on the bathroom mirror, Stephen? You mean like, I don't have my glasses on, that's why I'm squinting. What your affirmations or your declarations? I think that's great. There's nothing wrong with having, it's like writing it down or having a vision board and all that kind of stuff, you guys. All that stuff's great. There's nothing wrong with that. The only challenge or issue, I guess, I have with stuff like that is sometimes people think that that's all there is. And then they don't take the necessary steps to go forward to make that a reality. So now, you guys, I've given the example of this place, and I've given you a tour here, and I'll do another one. Not right now. I'm charging my phone, and it's easier just to walk around with it. This is done on my laptop. But I had the vision of building out this penthouse on the Las Vegas Strip. You guys have seen it, and I'll do another tour later. It's spectacular. It's super cool. And we had pictures, and we had diagrams, and we had charts, and we had blueprints, and we had all kinds of stuff, and boards of all the furniture and the fixtures and all that kind of stuff, and that's great. But if that's all we had, and we said, we're going to make this penthouse, then we would have been lying to ourselves, and nothing would have happened. So the vision is imperative, because also, the more you look at it, the more you go, you know what, that's right, that's wrong, I need to fix that, these two go together, that's all great. But you need to have a plan in place after you have the vision and write things down and things like that. Because what if I didn't do the business that actually paid the contractor to build this? What if I didn't do what was necessary to sell the office building that I sold to buy this place? You have to do what's necessary. You can't just have the vision. The vision's the first step. And then you refine the vision over time as you take steps forward, and because you get closer to the finish line, you gain clarity, and then the picture modifies, tweaks, adjusts, and comes into focus that much more. Does that make sense? Okay. I got way off track. We're going to wrap this thing up here, okay? So originally, we were talking about being productive with your day. And so when I was talking about going back, watch the whole thing if you guys missed some of this, because it's really, we dove deep in some stuff here. Talking about going to sleep, staying asleep, rituals for sleep, waking up, what you do, having exercise, contemplative thought, meditation, rituals, gratitude work, and then compressing as much work in the first 3 hours of your day as possible by eliminating distractions. Don't watch the news. Get a couple apps on your phone. Go back and listen to what I said about that. And then having the vision, but modifying the vision over time throughout the day too. I'm talking about your long-term vision, your 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plan. That vision, that has to modify as you go forward, right? Create that wake behind you. But also as your day progresses, you can also modify your vision as your day progresses. So as you are making progress through what you want to do in your day, you think, wow, I got done with that 20 minutes faster than I thought. I'm still within the first, I'm looking at my imaginary watch. I'm still in the first 3 hours of my day, so I'm being really productive. What else can I do to enhance the results that I must have today? What is that? So sometimes people become so rigid with their outline that it doesn't allow them to make the modifications on the fly, which really will allow them to get more done. And that's why sometimes when people have a lot of formal business training but not a lot of seat of their pants training, they get so ritualistic and so militaristic about it, and SOP, standard operating procedure, that they can't deviate from that, and they get stuck. That's not the way the world works now, man. It's super fast, it's fluid, it's dynamic, it's changing faster than ever before. If you're older than a millennial, you need to catch up, because they and the younger generations are gonna blow past you. I am older than a millennial, but I've been hanging around a lot of them the last year or so, and I've learned a lot. Some things I wouldn't do simply because I'm not in that age group, but certain things I've learned from them, and that is that they move and take action. They focus on results. They don't get bogged down and mired down with things that don't take them to their goal. Now, obviously there's exceptions, but I'm hanging out with the movers and the shakers and the top 2 or 3% of the millennials, at least in North America, and I see what they're doing. I see the actions they're taking, and I guarantee that they are producing more work in the first 3 hours of their day than the vast majority of the people who will watch this video, which will be thousands of people by the time it goes into replay. They're getting more done in the first 3 hours than the vast majority of you will do all day. Why? Because they're not getting stuck doing crap. They're not telling themselves a story and having a ritualistic routine that doesn't work anymore. It's fluid and it's dynamic and it's forever changing. So get up, make the necessary adjustments, modifications, or whatever's necessary. If you feel stuck or frustrated that you haven't gotten what you want, and yet you haven't done any of these things I've talked about, I bet that's a huge reason why. There might be some other reasons as well. And look, here's the thing too. When I share all this stuff with you guys, I'm not saying I perfected it. I haven't. What I have done is, I don't know, like 3 decades of research and practice, and read hundreds of books and lots of schooling, and hung out with super, super high performers in literally every industry, in sports and entertainment and business and philanthropy, and I've learned a lot. When you hang out with people who are the ballers of the ballers, the heavy hitters, and pretty soon you keep seeing, oh yeah, they're doing the same thing. They do that too. Oh my gosh, they do that too. It's undeniable. A pattern appears. And this, what we're talking about today, is one of those patterns. So if they're all losers, then, well, I'm going to rephrase that. They're doing this, I'm trying to think of a way to describe this. They're all doing the same thing and they're all winners. People who are not succeeding in life at that high of a level, in all these different categories of life, are not doing these things. There is a clear divide. So, this is not a new invention. It's just modeling excellent behavior over time, done by a lot of different people. And for me, one of the things that I've done with my martial arts training, with my business training, with my sports training, and mental training, personal development stuff, I've studied as many different people as possible. I just make sure they're good people, honest people, ethical people, moral people, not crazy people. And then I study as much about them and what they do as possible. And what I look for is similarities, commonalities, repeating patterns, undeniable habitual behavior that you say, oh, well, that's what they're doing. Well, that's what they're doing too. All these people are winners, and they all do that. I'm going to give that a try. And you might have to tweak it a little bit for yourself, because we're all unique. But if they're all doing something, and they haven't corroborated, they have their different ethnicities, different sexual orientation, they come from different parts of the country, different age groups, and they all do the same thing, and they're all super successful, you're like, it may not be for me, but I should at least investigate it to see if it can serve me in some way. And I can always tweak it in a way that kind of fits in with who I am and my beliefs and value system, right? You never want to compromise your values or morals. Now, if your values are incongruent with your goals, then that requires another assessment as well, right? All right, hey, Joe, Marla, Bob, you guys, thank you for joining me. All right, I'm on this longer than I thought I was. So thank you so much. I went a little longer than I thought. Got a little off tangent here. If you missed any of it, please go back. There's a lot of good information here. I'm always here to help you guys. By the way, real quick, as I'm wrapping this up, starting in January, I'm doing the second Penthouse group. It's 16 weeks. It's coaching in a group setting, individual mentoring. It's through phone, video, email, text, webinars, special guest speakers, and then we spend 2 days here at the Penthouse in Las Vegas, about a month and a half into the 16-week program for a 2-day intensive mastermind. It is incredible. Some of the people that have been in my programs, and look, here's a disclaimer. I can't guarantee you're going to have any specific result because I don't know who you are, everyone watching this. I know some of you. And I don't know how hard you're going to push and how much you're going to focus. But I can tell you that some people have increased their income $1 million a year. $1 million. Holy crap. That is the truth. Not everybody. I would say the average person increased their revenue 20%. So let's just say if you make 100,000, you increased your income to 120,000. I'm approximating. One guy's been with me for 5 years, and he went from about 150,000. Now he's about 2.5 million. So that's pretty cool. So that was over a 5-year period of time. And other people have become best-selling authors. They've opened facilities. They're traveling the world. One lady has her whole gym on autopilot, and she's moving to the country of Andorra, which is this beautiful place between France and Spain. If you guys just Google pictures of Andorra, it is one of the most beautiful places. It looks like, if you've ever seen the most ridiculous postcard of a beautiful, serene mountaintop village, it was probably taken in Andorra. And so that's where she's going to live part of the year. And then I helped her automate her business in the fitness industry in this case. And she's able to do that. Other people do healthy cooking. Another person does e-commerce. Another person does body transformation. Someone else is in video production and marketing. A lot of different people. Real estate, a lot of different things. Into design and art. So whatever you do, whatever you'd like to do, if you'd like to join this group, it is really a lot of fun. And you and I get to spend a lot of time together on the phone and in person. And I will help you dial in whatever you want to do. Mindset, focus, determination, distraction control, entrepreneurship, money management, investment. And I give you access to my attorney, my financial planner, my accountant, my business advisors, my team. Like I literally opened up like an old school Rolodex and say, who do you need? And so whatever you want to do, you want to improve your speaking ability, you want to get on stages, you want to write a book, whatever it is. I've literally done all these things, and my team of experts have all done it at a very high level of success. And I can give you any resource you want. So it's a lot of fun. It's a small investment, and there's also a very affordable monthly payment plan. So it's available for everyone. You can actually use PayPal credit too, which is basically, it's like a negligible percentage rate, and that way you just pay back PayPal. Like I forget the exact amount, but it's not much. It's not much per month. It's very, very affordable. So I would love to have you join me. And if you want to do that, go to johnspencerellis.com/penthouse. johnspencerellis.com/penthouse. There you go. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And thanks for watching, okay? I will do more of this later. You guys leave some comments and let me know what else you'd like to learn or talk about or whatever. And I hope to see you here as part of the Penthouse group. Some of the seats are already gone. It absolutely will sell out. We're only going to do it twice a year. So if you don't join us and sign up before January, you're going to have to wait until like July 2018. That sounds so far off to do it again. So please join us, okay? Stephanie, you're welcome. Thanks, you guys. Enjoy your day. See ya.